Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great day. I'd like to talk to you about a question that I get asked all the time, and it is how do I turn a standard template that you find online into a UserSpice or into a PHP template? And so we're going to go over that. If you Google free Bootstrap templates, you'll find that there's tons of them out there. And my recommendation, if this is the first time you're doing this, is to go ahead and find a template that's based on Bootstrap. It'll make your life a little bit easier, especially in dealing with all the classes and stuff like that. But I wanted to challenge myself, so I just went and picked a random template that I've never seen before, and I have no idea what's in it. And I picked it and downloaded it, and we're going to unzip it together and see about turning it into a UserSpice template. Now, I'm going to tell you in advance, this will be messy. I am taking code I didn't write and turning it into a UserSpice template, and so we're going to be figuring some things out. It's not going to be something that I've done in advance, and I'm just kind of giving you a nice, clean experience with. But coding isn't always clean, so what I've done is, let's see here, I've got the folder here, and I have a UserSpice install in here, and I've downloaded this thing now. It is 23 megabytes, which is flipping massive. And so I'm going to go ahead and unzip it, and we're going to see what happens. So we're going to unzip, and I unzipped it into this folder, Paleo Place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a second browser window. Let's see here. So we're gonna do this, and we are going to, I'm gonna get really messy, and I'm gonna dump this entire thing into the root of this project. And so we're just gonna, let's copy it instead of move it so we have a backup of it. So we are copying, and we're just gonna create a whole bunch of randomness inside of my project and make things all super messy. So let's replace that. Okay, so we can delete the zip file now. And I'm going to open up Atom. Oop, no, don't want to do it there. Let's do it here. CD template. Okay, and let's see here. Let me drag this down. So you'll see, because this is a Git project, all of the things that I've changed are green, and so all of these new things, these green folders and files, are things that have been created by the template. Now I'm going to do a git push just to get this out of the way so we can see what changes. So give me 1 second for that. Okay, so everything is up on GitHub, so we have a clean working directory over here. I'm going to clean up the default index.php that UserSpice has. We don't need the redirect to get to the install page and stuff. So we're going to just get rid of all of this stuff here, and we're going to just leave it like this. And so if I were to visit this page, let's see here, let me get rid of some of these files here, and we visit, voila, so the home page. If you look at this right now, I'm going to drag this back here. All right, so we're just going to put a little H1 here. Okay, so if I refresh this page, you'll see that we have essentially a header with a navigation bar, we have content, and we have a footer. That's basically what an entire template breaks down. You want your content to be dynamic. You want each page to have its own content. You generally want the footers and the headers to be the same, so that if you change in one place, they change every place. And so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the template that we have, which is HTML, right here, HTML, and you have all these fancy graphics, but when it comes down to it, you have a footer, you have a bunch of content, and you have a header. And so what we want to do is we want to start incorporating these things into our PHP files. And the way that we do that is, when you look inside of a template, you'll see that there are files like header.php and footer.php, just very simple names to give you an idea of what goes on inside of those files. And so what you have to do is basically break down the existing template that they give you. Like, see, we have this index.html. You see they have all these includes in the header, and then you have this big navigation bar, and then you have these social icons, and then you have, so we've got all this stuff down here, and then they've got all this content. And then if you were to scroll all the way down, you would see that they have some footer stuff down there. And so they've got popper.js and jQuery and all that stuff, which we're going to upgrade the version of jQuery. But essentially, it's just chunks of code. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create our own template. And we're going to do that by going in the templates folder, and we're going to take the standard and we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to call it Pato, because that's what this template is called in HTML. So we're going to open this up and we're going to rename it in this info.xml. We're going to call it Pato. And we're going to say that this is version 1.0, and today is July 7th, 2020. And we're going to say that we tested it with version 5.1.3, and everything else can stay the same. So now what would happen is, if you go, there's nothing magical going to happen, but if you go to users, let's see here, users admin.php, you'll see that if you go to the template manager, there are now two templates. Now this is obviously just a copy of this one, but it's there. So what we're going to do is we are going to get all of this junk that this template put into our folder. We are going to get it and we're going to move it into this assets folder. As you can see, we have a CSS and a fonts and a JS folder and all that stuff. So we're going to grab all the different things that this template dumped in here, and it's probably better to use the file manager, so give me a second. Okay, so you can see that we have a CSS folder this thing dumped in, of fonts and images. There's an includes. I don't really know what's in that. Let's just take a look at what's in that. Contact form? Yeah, we're probably not going to be using that, but we're going to grab it anyway. There's a JS and there's a vendor. So all of these folders were added by the template when I unzipped it. So I'm going to grab all of those things and I'm going to move them into the assets folder. And there'll probably be some overwriting that's happening, and that's fine. No, okay, we're good. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the code editor, and you can see that as we look at the code of index.html, which was given to us by the thing, we have all this stuff here. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of all of the weird content. Just because, so in other words, I'll tell you what, let's go from the Italian restaurant all the way down to, let's leave the footer for a second, all the way down to the sign up. So we're just going to delete this out of the way so that we get a more clean page. So we're going to search for Italian. Okay, so we're going to take this section here and we're going to go all the way down to the sign up, and we're just going to delete all that crud. Let's see here, sign. So there's still footer stuff down there, so we don't want to delete that. This is all footer. Let's see, active hello, good option, latest Twitter. This is all still footer. Sign up, there we go. So we're going to delete all that. And we're just going to look at our page one more time, make sure we didn't do anything too drastic. So I'm going to refresh this page here. So now we just have this header graphic, which we can decide what we want to do with that. We have our menu and we have this footer down here. So this is what we're trying to replicate, and you may or may not even want this thing here, but we're gonna hang on to it for a second. So what we would like to have happen is when we go to index.php, instead of seeing this, we want to see this. And instead of seeing this garbage footer, we want to see this nice footer, and then we'll see what else we're going to do in between. So the first thing we want to do is look at the includes that are happening up here. So we're going to scroll all the way to the top of the index.html, and you'll see that we have this massive collection of style sheets and all this stuff that's included. Now, there's one major problem with the way that they're doing this. Right now, the assumption is that you have, let's say that you're in index.html, you're assuming that there's going to be a folder in your root that is vendor and has all the stuff in there. But the problem is you might not be in the root folder. You might be in the users folder. You might be in the user C folder. You might be in some other folder you created. And so you don't want to have to change these links every single time you change folders. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some magic on that. So we're going to take all these and we are going to, let's copy them, and we're going to go back to our template folder and we're going to go to header. And so if you start looking at header, you have this thing must include. This is a bunch of UserSpice stuff. Glyphicons, which are built-in things for Bootstrap that we're going to keep. But then we have all this other stuff in here. So we do want our data tables because that's how we sort tables. Well, we're going to get rid of bootstrap.css. We're going to get rid of font awesome. We're going to leave jQuery for now because it's a newer version. We're going to get rid of this Roboto font stuff because that's all built into the template. We're going to get rid of popper.jss and hamburger.jss and all this stuff. But there's one thing I want you to see. We're going to paste this. Let's see here. We're going to paste this right here. These are all their existing links. Now, what we want to do is we want to use UserSpice magic on the links. So if you look in here, you'll see that we have this right here, assets / So this tells us that no matter where we are in UserSpice, it's going to go back to the root and then find this assets folder, which is where we just copied all this stuff. See, all this is in assets over here. So we're going to take all of these links and we're going to add the magic URLs on here so that they're going to work regardless of where this is being called from. So now we've made this thing a ton more dynamic. And so we're going to just update all the links with this. Now, jQuery, I don't think they're calling jQuery here yet. Nope. And so we can get rid of Popper and all of this stuff because they're going to include it themselves in their template. This is a custom CSS thing. We're going to leave that there. And then header 3 must include. So I think we're good there. Now, what should happen at this point, we haven't done anything with navigation and we're not calling the JavaScript, so it's going to be broken, but we should start to see some of the look and feel of this template showing up here. So, well, the first thing we have to do is activate the template. So let's go to the dashboard and we're going to go to Tools and Templates and we're going to activate the Pato template. And now when we come here, yeah, nothing really has changed yet because we're just not quite there yet. So let's keep going. Let's go down to the footer and see how much of that we can make work. So if we come to index.html, we have all this other stuff in the footer. So let's look here. Let's look at their existing page. Again, I've never seen this template before. So you can see we have this contact us as kind of the first real thing in the footer. So if we come to their index.html page and let's do contact us. So we have this footer here. So we're going to grab all of this. All right. Not the body tags, but we're going to just grab all of this and we're going to copy it and we're going to go into our footer. And so now we're in Pato. Let me make sure. Okay, we're in Pato and we're going to go to footer. Now we want to leave the container closed. We want to leave this page footer thing here. We want to leave this. Want to leave this for now. We can get rid of we leave the copyright date. Yeah, let's get rid of the copyright date. So we're going to paste everything that they had in their footer right here. We're going to just give this a shot. Again, I've not done this before. So we're going to go to our header and we're going to grab that same snippet that we had. And again, I want you to see we're just breaking this stuff up into sections so that we don't have to have this stuff on every single page. Missed a quote. Okay, got a main.js. That could be a problem depending on how they're doing that, but we're gonna look at it and see how it goes. So we're gonna come back here to our UserSpice page, refresh, and now voila, we have the footer that they had. And so what we're gonna do is we're going to look here for a second. I had the initial, I think I want our copyright date here, so we're gonna say, where's the copyright? Let's see here. So we're gonna come in color lib. All right, so we're gonna say, let's make this a little bit more dynamic. So we're gonna say copyright, and then we're gonna make this the year, date, Y, that's PHP, and then we're gonna say all rights reserved. So what we're gonna do, let's copyright, and then we're gonna use the settings file has our site name, so we're gonna go settings, site name, if I could type. And I think that's all we want. All right. Let's just get rid of all that. Let's get rid of the link altogether. Okay, so let's refresh the page and come back over here, and you'll see we should have our dynamic. Yep, copyright 2020. Now this UserSpice is coming from your site settings, so if you want to change that, then you would just go to your dashboard and admin dashboard settings, and we can say, I'll just call it my project, and save that, or you don't have to save it, just get out of the way, and then come back here and you'll see it's called my project. So again, this stuff would all be customized to your liking, but let's try to get the header working a little bit better. So right now we have all this stuff going on in navigation. So if we come back to the index.html, let's look at those navigation links that they have. Okay, so header, desktop, header. All right, body class animation, head. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab all of this, all of these menu links that they have. And I think they still go here because there's a, let's see here, gallery. I think that looks, let's see here. Let's find the slash head. Okay, so this we want. We want this header all the way to this header. So we're going to control X that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to replace everything in navigation. Let's save this. We're going to replace everything in navigation.php that involves, so we don't need, we're not using database navigation. We're not going to do any of this style stuff. We're gonna, okay, let's get rid of all of this. In fact, we can get rid of all of it. See if there's anything else in here. Right style. Let's see if there's anything else that we need. Okay, so the only thing we want are these little functions down here. And so everything else in this file can go. And then we're going to open up some PHP tags there. So this, I believe, is it. I mean, this is just try. So we basically took their navigation and put it in our navigation. Like, it's not that complicated. So, okay. So you can see that we're not getting that parallax thing, but we are getting their reservation or their navigation stuff. So let's take a look at this, see if we can figure out what's going on. So looking at the template, it's expecting to have that big slider thing below it. So let's go ahead and dump that in there for now. We can always get rid of that later. If we go to index.php, you got all these sections here below it. Again, we can null this out later, but let's just for now put it in header.php or navigation.php and consider that part of the navigation. And so we're going to refresh the page, and voila, we have our full menu with content with footer. And so if we were to navigate to now we're going to have that big giant thing up top, but if we were to go to users account.php, we will have our full account PHP page here with edit account info. All of that stuff is in here. Now they've got some weird colors on the forms that can all be updated, but so all of that stuff is here. Now you'll see this is what I was talking about. This logo is broken, these are all broken, and the reason for that is because in here they did images and they did not put the full path thing in there. So we're going to grab that snippet one more time, and we're going to search in this file for the word images. And let's just see, are there any that already have that in there? So images, 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 images. All right, so we're just going to do images, and we're going to do a find replace assets images like that, and we're going to replace all those and see what happens now. I mean, all that looks decent from where I'm at. And yep, you'll see that even in the user settings you have all this stuff here. So we're getting pretty functional. Now the gallery, the same thing down there. They didn't do the links right, and obviously you can update that for yours, and you might want to change some CSS classes, but you can see we're getting pretty close to having this thing working. Now there's a couple things you're going to want to do. First of all, let's look at your menu links right here. So I'm going to show you a few UserSpice tricks. Let's start looking at some of these links. Now we obviously don't care about the existing pages they had, but just for the heck of it, let's do a link to the home page, index.php. What you would do is you would do this PHP echo and then US URL root, and then this, you don't need the / to index.php, and now that will take you home no matter where you're at. So even though I'm in user settings, when I hit home, let's see, it's still saying index.html. Why is that? There might be two of those. Yep, there's two of them. So you have to change them both places because there's a hamburger menu and a regular desktop menu. As you can see up here, this is the desktop. So we're gonna do this. And then we want to make sure that says index.php. Now, oh, there's a third one here. So let's grab this one too. Boom. Okay, so all those, let's just see if there's any more index.htmls. Good. Okay, so now let's just say, let's get rid of this menu.html, and let's say that what we want to do is to have that go to login. Let's just, I'm going to show you something. So menu.html, and we're going to replace that with this users login.php. Okay, so what we want to do now is we're going to go through and we're going to find all those, and we're going to make this a little bit more dynamic. And so for your menu, what we're going to do, and again, like this isn't normally this complicated. Normally, like if I look at login.php, normally there wouldn't be 5 links to that on there, but the way they set up the template, it is, so we're going to roll with it. So what we want to do is we want to write some PHP in here every time we see this. So we can do something like PHP if is set user, and then user is logged in, like this, nope, in, like this. Then what we want to do is we want to show their account page, let's say. So let's do it like this. Let's make it really dynamic. So if is set user, then we want to have, if they're logged in, we want to have 2 links. We want to have account, and we just want to say account. And then we also want to add the log out link. That was a terrible copy and paste job right there. And we're going to say log out. And we're going to say log out. So else log in. So if you're logged in, then give the links to the account page and the logout page. Otherwise, give a link to login.php, and we're going to say login. Again, quick and dirty. So let's find the other times that we are linking to login.php. And so this one doesn't have, for some reason, this one doesn't have the li tags. So we'll do the same thing, but we're just going to get rid of the li tags. And that did have a class of something, text19. We'll figure out what that is. Okay, so let's add this class of text19 to each of these links. So you can kind of see what I'm working on here. We're just making these menus a little bit more dynamic. I'm not going to bother spacing everything out properly because I don't care. Let's see, so we're going to leave that there. Let's find the other login.phps. So we have this one here. There's a class button one flex. So let's go grab that first set of logic. This is ridiculous. Like, this is why I said from the beginning, like, don't bother with the database driven menus, because every single template does the database driven menu, or does the menu differently. Sorry, this one has these classes on it, so we're gonna do this, and we're gonna take that same thing right here. We're gonna grab these classes right here. This. Now, this may not line up right. I mean, I'm just, again, quick and dirty. So let's grab that same block here. So these classes look like they're the same, so we can, that one looks good. Okay, so let's see what we got. Let's get rid of all this. Again, I think it's completely stupid that this template has 5 different menus in it, but we're gonna roll with it. So let's back up here, and you will see that because we're logged in, we have the link to the account page. If we were logged out, you would have a link to the login, And that's basically how you make these things dynamic. Now you can see I broke a class somewhere there, but you get the idea. So there's one more thing I want to show you about navigation, and that is if you want a link to show up if somebody has a certain permission. So what you would do, you would add one more thing to here. So if you only want this to show up if somebody has a permission level of, like, let's say 2 or 3, you could do something like has perm, you need the parentheses 2, 3, and then user data ID. And so what this would do is if they have user permission 2, which is admin, 3, which is not one that we have, but you may have made up, then they would be shown these links. Otherwise, they'd be given this one. So that's how you do permission-based dynamic menus. But for the most part, that is the entire process of breaking up one of these templates and making something fancier out of it. So again, hope somebody finds it useful. I don't know which. Oh no, I didn't break a link. It's still there. I didn't break anything. All right, so enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.